Action.
So when did you start making climate-themed music?
Okay. I think it was back in like 2007. I went to this conference called Connecting Change. It was known as the Pioneers by the Bay at that time, by Marion Institute. And I got a chance to meet a lot of amazing people like Van Jones, Naomi Wolf, Laurie Robertson Laurent, and really blew my mind as far as what was happening on an environmental, sustainable landscape. And for me, as an MC, as someone who wants to be relevant and put out music and information about what's relevant, I felt like it was necessary for me to put out some music about the environment and sustainability.
So were you making music that wasn't about the environment beforehand, or did this really kick you?
Yeah, I've always done music about social justice. That's always been my focus since hearing the greats like Public Enemy, KRS-One, Eric B. and Rakim, Wu-Tang Clan. You know, for me, hip hop, it's a culture, and so it always informed me about issues, global issues, and so I've always wanted to do the same in my music. And so it was always social justice theme. And so when you look at sustainability, talking about, you know, ecology and the environment, and also, you know, the social equity, social justice piece, it was a natural fit.
So as you went along and as you made music, how did you first start to incorporate like climate change, and like where were the roots of your mindset on climate change?
Yeah, the roots were this track called I Am the Bee. It was this verse that I wrote about being the bee, being someone who, like Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see, but also going around and pollinating whoever you meet. You know, let them feel you, let them know that you're present, let them know that you and I are having a real interaction, and not, you know, when you speak, I'm really listening to you, and I'm trying to pass on some information, you're passing it on for me. So like a bee does when it's pollinating things. And when I heard that the bees were no longer going to their hives and this colony collapse disorder was happening, you know, I put together this hook, which was I am the bee, pollinate truth if you choose to see. Pollinate the youth to truly be free. Pollinate love, let's all agree. I am the bee. So the idea is like to make that connection internally, to internalize that, and to know that this is something that, you know, I should be a part of. And so that was my initial song. I did a song about whales. I did this Green Anthem song also when I went over to Oakland and built with some people out there at Green for All, and once again Van Jones and cats like Ashell. So there was a lot of sustainable MCs also out west that I was like, wow, these brothers have been doing this for a while, these sisters have been doing this for a while. I'd like to also, you know, carry on that legacy and be part of this movement. So that transition was there from I Am the Bee to Green Anthem. You know, I did some work with 350.org also, which is the whole divest movement. I have a song called Divest also, and then, you know, just a number of things that for me is affecting me personally, and I see it affecting my community and, you know, my nation. I'm Cape Verdean, and we're an island nation, and so sea level rise is very important for island countries. So it's kind of like this is the direction I wanted to go, because it connected a lot more of the bigger movement.
So when you make music and when you try and reach these people and try and really put your message out there, what audience are you trying to really reach, and who are you trying to pitch your message towards?
Yeah, it's really all the audience. You know, it's very a multi-generational kind of music that I want to make, you know, music that my children can listen to. You know, my youngest is 3 years old, so I want to be able to have him listen to something. You know, hip hop and rap music especially has been always associated with like swears and vulgarity and a lot of negative themes, which although there's that aspect of all cultures, there's a negative aspect, there's also a lot of positivity, especially in the hip hop culture. And so for me, it was always important for my son, my mother, my boys, you know, the youth, the elders to listen to it. Ultimately, I always say I make music for people like me. In a sense, it's a soundtrack for the movement, you know, so people that are going to rallies, people that are, you know, in this type of movement and in this type of work, to be able to put it on and then listen to it, you know, as they're driving to, you know, a BLSyouthCAN summit, or if they're driving to, you know, a protest, or they're driving to, you know, wherever they're going, to feel energized and feel that power of the music to keep them going in this work.
So growing up in New Bedford, how did you really begin to care and make change in your community, and what were the beginnings of your both your careers in both rap and climate change?
Yeah, yeah. For me, well, first of all, I was born overseas. I was born in Guinea-Bissau, which is in West Africa, to Cape Verdean parents. So my parents are Cape Verdean. I immigrated here when I was 3 years old to New Bedford, Massachusetts. And my parents were always about education, so it was very important for us to get an education. That's why we came to this country. And so I met hip hop very early on, and I was influenced by it because it was dropping a lot of real good messages to me and a lot of knowledge. And when I heard Lottie Dottie by Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, that blew my mind. You know, Lottie Dottie, we like to party, you know. And it blew my mind, you know. It was after that I went and wrote my first rhyme, and I felt empowered. I felt like I could be part of this culture, even though, you know, at that time I had more of an accent. And what's great about hip hop, real genuine hip hop, is that it is about originality. And so there's room for everyone. There's people for all races, you know, from Macklemore to, you know, Cool G Rap, you know what I mean? There's room for everyone, females, femcs, anyone could be part of this from any country. You know, there's people rhyming in Japanese, Chinese, Spanish, all around the world. And so for me, it was like, wow, this is dope, this is fresh, it's something I could be a part of it. I ended up reading this book called The Autobiography of Malcolm X, and that also blew my mind, where I was like, whoa, this is such a great story of transformation from someone who, you know, has been affected by racism and is able to transform himself to a place where he's now sees humankind as someone who he can love and be a part of. You know, it was a great story of transformation. So I went to UMass Amherst. I got my degree in legal studies, I minored in sociology and African American studies. And while I was there, really was like, wow, I got all this wealth of knowledge now, and I want to put it in my rhymes, and I wanted to, you know, go out there and continue this legacy of these great folks who had come before me, who was always pushing this envelope. And you got to remember, 92 through 96 was when I was doing this music. That's like the golden age of hip hop, you know. So you had a diverse group of folks that were making music, you know, from the Fugees to, you know, NWA to, you know, Tribe Called Quest, which was a great time to come up, because it was very fertile land, you know, if you will, fertile environment.
So I mean, when you think of rappers in general, you're not really thinking of someone who's, besides the few who are talking about social justice and change. There's a lot of, you know, sex, drugs, money.
Yeah.
So being a rapper who's talking about social justice and climate change, how is that different, you feel, than someone who's just appealing to the mainstream and really talking about these values that aren't very, like, good?
Yeah, it totally shows the difference between an MC. Like, I don't define myself as a rapper. I define myself as an MC. I'm the master of ceremonies. I'm a mic controller. I move the crowd, you know, and I'm here to impart and have a conversation with the audience and get them to move, you know, as opposed to, you know, move towards a social change. That's my mission. That's my purpose as an MC. There's other rappers out there that are just trying to sell their records, you know. They're part of the problem, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They're part of what's polluting our society. You know, this whole idea of materialism, you know, capitalism to the worst degree, as far as, you know, just about getting yours, you know, living large, living big. And we know that that's affecting our climate. You know that, you know, the bigger the house, if it's not weatherized, if it's, you know, not insulated, you're using up a lot of fuel to heat that house, so on and so forth. You're driving around in these huge cars that, you know, waste a lot of gas. That's a problem for our planet. It's a problem for everyone. Not to mention, you know, some of these lyrics are very degrading towards women, and we know we have to respect our Mother Earth, first and foremost. And so it is a shift. And for me, there are a lot of other MCs like me. Unfortunately, the mainstream doesn't cover it. They don't spotlight some of that because, as you said, it's easy to sell, you know, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or the stunt blunts and hip hop, or whatever, all that violence. You know, there's this term in media, if it bleed, it leads. So, you know, they could have like a great summit happening in Boston, but, you know, there's a shooting that happened down the street. They're going to cover that first. You know, unfortunately, it's kind of like the human nature to kind of look towards violence or look towards something that is flashy and shiny, as opposed to what we need to look at, which is this climate crisis that's happening, and we need to shift it. We need to change our ways of living big and live more sustainable.
So, as kind of to wrap it up, looking towards the future, what are you looking to do with your music and do with your career, and really what are your plans for the future?
Yeah, I have a band. The band is called Blessed Energy, and for us, it's about putting out an album. I'm putting out an album summer, the first day of summer, 2014. So July 21st, and it has a lot of new tracks. That song on 350.org's on there. Also, this song called "You Ain't Gonna Die Today" that has to deal with sea level rise, and also some fun stuff called electronic bubonic. You know what I mean? That's strictly just MCing with the socially conscious background, but the video is gonna have like zombies in it. So part of it is like appealing, to this consciousness as far as like, let's wake up from the zombie state. Let's use music and some of these things that we're passionate about to kind of change this reality that we're in. And so for us, I'm continuing to make music. I work with this company called Next Step Living, which is great, that does home energy assessments and solar and all this. So it's about connecting those dots and getting people to understand that they have a passion, they have a talent, and how do you use that talent and green up that talent so that you make a change in this world that we live in. And so check me out, temblessed.com. That's kind of the first direct thing. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. The band is Blessed Energy. I rock today with Cedar Light and also Nadia. And so it's always about unifying people. The movement is peace, love, and justice, and it is about unity and one love.
So there we go, Tem Blessed.
Yeah.
Environmental rapper, activist, and thinker. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Peace. One.